Alright guys, so we are back with a Monkey D Garp deck. So I made a few changes since my last deck, just to try it out. It seems to run okay, but I think I might have to try and keep playing around with it and put some rush in there somewhere. It's very heavy board removal. I mean, it is good to have heavy board removal. So I've put 4 of the EB01 Brooks in. I think they're viable, especially early game. You can clear off a lot of the smaller cost characters with this card, and also being the fact that when attacking you can KO a 0 cost or minus a 1 cost off a character. I run 4 EB01 T-Bones. T-Bone seems pretty solid. He's a 5 cost and he's a 2k counter. K up to, on play, K up to one of your opponent's 2 cost or lower character cards. I think this can be really good. It's basically like replacing Meteor. I call it Meteor Volcano, I think it is. I did run Meteor Volcano in this deck, and I think it runs pretty good, but you got to drop a character right down to 1 cost. So I think putting this in there, even though it's a 5 cost, it's still a 2k counter. You can still play it out or counter. I stayed with 2 Kuzans because the fact that Garp does brick quite a bit, so a lot of non-counter cards I have had in my hand a lot. So 2 Kuzans, on play, draw 1 card. When attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 to their cost during this turn. So it is a really viable card if you can stick it to board. Definitely a good card. I run 4 Kobe's. So Kobe, on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, K up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So I do believe this is a very good card to have in the deck. Definitely run 4 of them. You can play it back out on top of Rebecca. You can play it out off Gecko only. This one, because Gecko's a 4 and a 2. So I do think this is a really good card to have in the deck. Now I also decided to have Tisserou. Obviously she was in the other deck too. It's a 2k counter. Give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 to their cost during this turn. It does come in handy being that you're only paying 1 Don to get rid of 2 cost. And off Garp's ability, if you guys, sorry I didn't do this first. Off Garp's ability, your turn, when you attach Don to the leader or one of your characters, give up to one of your opponent's 7 cost or lower -1 to their cost during this turn. So it's not you put 1 Don under there and that's it. You can put 5 Don under a character and you -5 cost off their character. So it's a really good ability. You just need a bit more support with minusing and KOing as well, because you can't allocate all your Don all the time to be doing this, but it does help give that extra minusing buff if you are needing 1 or 2 minus cost off a character. So we'll move on to, I just decided to put Rosinante in here because I don't really have any lower cost end blockers, and I think this is what the deck needs, just a little bit of low end blockers. So I run 4 of them. I run 4 Borsalinos, so on the opponent's turn this character gains plus 1000 power and cannot be KO'd by effects, and it's a blocker. So this is a really good card. He becomes a 6k blocker on your opponent's turn, and he sticks to the board and is really hard to remove unless you go up against Law or you go up against another black deck that has the 6 cost Brook in there. So Sabo is a definite in this deck, especially against a few decks that like to KO things. I did play against Doflamingo with Birdcage, so I dropped this on my turn, and their turn was going to be the 10 Don turn, and none of my characters could be KO'd by effects. You draw 2, trash 2 on play, and yeah, none of your characters can be KO'd by effects until the start of your next turn. So it's a really good blocker. I have One-Legged Soldier in here. This is a 2k counter. You may send this character to the trash, give up to one of your opponent's -3 cost. So it's actually pretty good. I'm not going to say it's top tier and all that stuff, but it is actually pretty decent, and I think it's worthy of being in the deck. I decided to put this in there just to try it out. I might change it back to the Rush Luffy, but this is a 2 cost counter. It's Shirahoshi. Activate main, you may rest this character, then return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. If your opponent has 6 cards or more in their hand, your opponent discards 1. So you're only paying 1 Don and you're returning cards to the bottom of the deck to do so. I thought I'd try it with 2 just to see how it goes, because I do know some decks actually run a lot of cards. And Nell, they get a lot of cards in hand. Sometimes Law gets a lot of cards in hand. There's a few other decks as well. I decided to keep Rebecca at 4. She's a blocker, but her on play is return up to 1 black character other than Rebecca with a cost of 3 to 7 from trash to your hand. Then play 1 cost 3 or less character from your hand to your field rested. So you don't have to play it, but you can choose to play it. Now this actually comes in clutch, especially if you want to play out Kobe off it, a blocker off, or you don't really want to be playing a blocker off it, Brook off it, or if you want to pull back a 2k counter like the T-Bone, you can. You can pull back your blockers, Kuzan, Lucci, and the Brook as well. So it is a viable card that you can get recycled back from trash. I decided to run 2 Rob Lucci's just because 4 was actually, what would you say, bricking up my hand. So I probably might go to 3. I'm not too sure yet. We're just going to play around with this deck. This isn't a final deck build. This is just a draft. We'll see how we can go over the next few weeks with it, trialing it, seeing where we can go better with it. I really do enjoy playing Garp. So, Lucci on play is you may place 3 cards from your trash onto the bottom of the deck in any order, up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less, and up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a 1 cost or less. So this is actually viable to get 2 cards off board. This is really good against Zorro. Potentially good against Law, as they run a lot of 4 costs. If you can get the cost minus down, you definitely can play this card. So I decided to run 2 Gecko Moria. On playability for Gecko Moria is choose up to 1 cost 4 or less and up to 1 cost 2 or less character card from your trash. Play one of them, then play the remaining rested. So you play out your first one. You can pick the 2 or less as an active if you really want to, or the 4 or less as active if you want to. You pick which one you want to play out active and play out rested. So it is a good card. A 6 cost Brook. Now this card is actually pretty solid. So on play, choose 1. Put up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less into their trash. So it's asking, like saying place or put. So put 1 of your characters with a cost of 4 or less into the trash. Does not say KO. So with that means that this can be placed into the trash if your opponent has it. So definitely a good card, especially when it's like KO'd by effects. Anything that says KO'd by effects, like let's say there is a block, the Shirahoshi blocker from EB01, that states that if this card is KO'd by effects, then the person gains a life. Well, drop out the Brook, place it straight to trash. That's not KOing because it's just saying put in trash. So it's a good card to get around KO'd by effects. Anything that's KO'd by effects, even the Akiku. So even Akiku, if she's on KO, this doesn't count because this is not KO. This is straight out place. And I think I really like this card. I might even drop these back to 3 and 3 and get rid of Gecko. I haven't really used it much and I haven't seen it in a lot of matches. I do believe it is solid and it's good, but I don't know if it's right for Garp. We have a Radical Beam. These are a 1 cost counter. Your leader or up to 1 of your characters gains 2,000 power during the battle. Then if you have 2 life or less, that card gains an additional 2,000 power during this battle. So this is definitely another good card. Radical Beam's just full of value. Then its trigger is your leader or up to 1 of your characters gain 1,000 power during the turn. And then finally we have Ice Age. I only got 2 in here. I think we only need 2. Give up to 1 of your opponent's characters -5 to their cost during this turn. And the trigger is K up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So I think the trigger is pretty good on this. I think all round, it's definitely a really good event card. 1 cost and it minuses 5 cost off any of the opponent's characters. Pretty crazy. So this is the start off of the EB01 Garp deck. We will continue to try and perfect it, make it better, change the cards up. I'm still playing around with it, but I think there's a lot of potential in Garp. Anyway, always a gameplay at the end of the deck profile breakdown, so let's head over. We'll go second. That's not a bad hand. Okay, draw. Play it, Rosie. So I think having a low end blocker kind of helps a bit, because I only had the 4s and the 5s. Having a 2 cost blocker in there does help as well. So let's go 7. So the biggest issue I'm going to have is that I need that hand size to drop. Draw. I've only got 2, so let's do 6 in the lead. So let's play a Brook once they've searched their top 5. Alright, let's play a Brook. Brook will then get rid of that and we'll end turn. Five and a 5. We'll take the first one. Ooh. 7. Block. Draw. Activate main. Making them trash a card. Attach. Attack. Got to really play against Enel really different, because Enel builds up a hand, and once they build up a hand, it's hard to kill them. So you need to try and keep the hand size down. And their character board down. They're going to drop a big mum. Oh no, they're not. Okay, so 4 into 3. Oh no, we don't want to end turn. So if we... Alright, so if we go 7... into here... We go 4 into 3, play that out. Done it wrong. Messed up. Didn't attach it on. I need them to drop their hand size. That's what I need. Alright, so they got 2 7k attacks coming at me at least. They're at 1 life. They've rested my Rebecca. So they're 8, 7, 7. So what are they going to do here? Are they going to put 3 Don under an L? No. So go no block. We will counter out of this one. Into 4. Can't save that. Okay. 5. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. We'll attack Nell. Alright, so they've only got 2 attacks at us now. I'm thinking maybe a little rush is needed in this deck. Oh. Why'd I do that? Oh. See what happens. Maybe I need the Luffy's in there for this. 8. What's coming out? I'm gonna cry if they got another... a Nell. They probably will. No. 7, so 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 and 1. Okay, let's go 7. Can I put life back on top and trash a card? Okay. So 6, 7, 6, 5. So if I go 1. I don't know what we're going to do here. One card in hand, 2 Don standing, 3 swings on board, potentially 2, but I need to keep 3. Do they have a Rationale? There's 1, 2, 3. 3 Rush Aces, 3 Rationale, 1 God in hand, and 1... yeah, 1 God in hand and 2 gods in there. Yep, they had the rush. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. I think we performed okay against Danelle. If they didn't have the I'm a God in hand and to be able to play a Rationale from trash, I think we probably would have had the game. I think this deck can be pretty viable. We didn't see any geckos, but I think this could run really well. It just needs a lot of work, a lot of support cards. I'm hoping there's going to be more support coming soon. This deck is actually a lot of fun to play. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Smash the like button, comment down below what you think of the deck, and I'll see you all on the next one.